question more towards, I guess, the actual missions that go on in the game. Because, I mean, you could go in there and, you know, of course, you die 50 million times anyway because nobody wants to have a customer remove their subscription. But, I mean, as far as, you know, the mission itself, because I've noticed, like a case in point, World of Warcraft, there's several missions where you can quote-unquote fail, but you can just go right back to the NPC, start up the mission again, and it's like nothing ever happened. You know, and there is, you know, like you said, there's no real consequence for failure. There's no dealing with that aftermath.
I agree, and I think that is a part of the future of MMOs or of online entertainment story type games, whatever we're going to call these things. There is a lot of room for that, and where you build a character that's much more like a tabletop game, where your character has relevance in the world, your character does things that are important, your character's life changes. You don't just do the same grind everybody else does. Your character relates to other people, and you kind of create systems in the world that are valuable and relevant to you, instead of just doing the grind. And then you take consequences that are your own consequences. You take gains or losses in the world. I mean, MMOs can learn a lot from RTSs, I think, if they'll combine forces. It's one thing the type of game I've been working on designs for a long time, are MMOs where you do, where the world has much more function than simply every NPC is a lamppost that you walk up to and walk away from.
Mm-hmm. A quick adjunct, slightly different approach. My storytelling training in my formative years largely came from Japanese popular culture. I lived in Hawaii for a short time and was exposed to anime and manga and things like that. And I became fascinated with the notion of earned death. In other words, structuring your story, knowing that there is a fantastically large chance that your primary character, your player, is going to die. But wow, it's going to be spectacular. And I think games like God of War give that to you, because man, some of those deaths, you're in combat with a god, you're taking him on, and it's spectacular. And knowing that you're going to sacrifice yourself or do something so heroic that the world is saved, but you're going to lose your life, but it's going to be really cool, is a way to address the issue of the inconsequentiality of these repeated saves and death and come back, death and come back. I hate that stuff.
Okay. I need to get somebody from here. Yeah.
First, I just want to say thank you. This is a great panel. I really appreciate the theme, the concept of what is being discussed, and I hope to see more. And one thought I had also, in addition to this idea, is if somehow workshops could be developed on this theme for games masters and for maybe game designers, that'd be really cool. I would definitely be.
Okay. Did you have a question though, or was just a thought?
He just volunteered to run those. Or as a chapter coordinator, write down his name.
Yeah, the question I have was something earlier that you had said, Daniel, about what your vision of like sort of the future trends in game development would be in regards to being able to create better stories. Like you kind of hinted that you have some sort of idea.
No, not ideas. I have intellectual properties. They're available, but they're very expensive.
Could you give us a hint?
Well, that's his IP now.
Well, it depends. It really depends on the publishing partners and developing partners I end up working with on these, because I am almost completely IP agnostic at this point. There's so much that can be done in any IP. I mean, you can take any kind of genre and do amazing work with it. I do prefer fantasy. I do prefer something where I can work with mythic elements in storylines. But you can do those in space opera, like Star Wars. You can do them in spy. You can do them anywhere. Boy, I wish I could answer your question, but I would have to non-disclosure you first.
David.
So it's somewhat of a very open-ended question, but I used to play MUDs,
light called Multi-Use Dimension. No visuals at all, pure text. And went onto the role play mode. It was amazing. And there was permanent depth for characters because you know what? It's a lot more exciting when the character can die. There were moments there, right? Like pulse-pounding moments playing this, and it's just a bunch of text. And it seems that the more visual we've gotten and the more people get involved, you just end up with like a much, much lowered game master player ratio for one. And then any rules, any sort of role playing you want to make up, well, you don't have the people there to the human minds that can sit there and say, okay, yes, this is the rule, this is legal for role play, this is not. And thus you need computer rules, which more and more seem to simply suppress the ability for players to come up and make up their own thing. It's like, okay, well, here's the quest. You walk up to the guy, you walk up to the lamppost NPC standing outside, and he says, the quest is go kill, you know, the evil whatever it is in the labyrinth and collect the 3 artifacts, etc. And you can't really deviate much from that, and player ability to create content is to create story. It becomes almost non-existent. The more players you get, and the more you need to lock in a rule system. What do you, so, I guess probably to some extent you agree, but how do you get around that? Is it where, how do you avoid the trap?
Well, when you can do that, you'll make a game that will probably sell huge amounts of copies. That is, I mean, to me, that's the direction that story games are going. There's game companies are desperate for material that is going to be compelling like that. They just don't want to pay the huge R&D costs and risk the massive failures of gaming corpses that are going to litter the path towards this kind of this gaming state of transcendence. But I know it's out there, and I know that paper games have kind of pointed the way. We're kind of paddling around in the shallow end of online gaming right now, and we know the direction. That's the weird thing, and we actually have some really good stars to guide us to where we need to go. And a lot of it's what you said, and it probably didn't get recorded by the camera, so folks at home will never know the direction. But you're absolutely right.